Hey everyone, and welcome to the 5 steps to becoming a more effective property deal sourcer by Mark Dunsmore here at the Goliath Sourcing Academy. Now, as you'll all be aware, the property deal sourcing market has become incredibly competitive and has become a very crowded marketplace with a number of providers setting up sourcing training and a number of people just firing out there and making offers left, right, and centre. Now, what that means is if you're going to be a successful deal sourcer, then what you're going to have to do is be innovative and you're going to have to use advanced strategies to get ahead of the competition. So thankfully, you're in the right place. So there are 5 simple factors that you should always remember when you're property sourcing. And this is going to help give you the edge and enable you to become more effective and, of course, make more money by packaging those deals up to your investors. Now, the first one is rapport building. Now, never underestimate the importance of rapport building because you're going to have to build up trust. You're going to have to get people to like you and feel comfortable with you because you've got to remember that, like we've just mentioned, it's a very competitive marketplace. So what that means is that you need to stand out. So when you're meeting with the vendors, the property sellers, the landlords, whoever it might be that you're in the property with, they need to feel comfortable doing business with you, which means the rapport building is an incredibly important part of the process. You can't just get straight in there and get a deal on your first conversation. You can't just go straight in for the juggler. You're going to have to make sure you're playing the long game, you're being patient, you're building that relationship up. But trust me, as they say, the world of Guinness, good things come to those who wait. So rapport building, really, really important, and that's step number 1. Now, step number 2 is, I was always told you've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and that is because it pays to listen. So point number 2 is that it pays to listen. Now, far too often sources make the mistake of going into properties, going into negotiations, and basically, in effect, telling the landlord, telling the property owner what the deal sourcer, want the outcome of that negotiation to be. Now, we can't just assume that what the problems are that they're facing are going to sort of fit nicely with the deal that we want to package up. So the art of good deal sourcing, the art of being a good property sourcer is having the ability to be able to listen to that property owner's problems, listen to the issues that they're currently facing, and then of course presenting them with the best deal. So the information that you get purely from listening to them is key to what you're going to achieve deal-wise in terms of the success, the solid deals, and that again, the rapport building. Listening all forms part of that rapport building as well. So on to number 3. The solution, like I've just touched on, by listening and building the rapport and listening to that owner's problems, that property owner's problems, you're going to have to find a solution that is good for both parties. So once you've gained all the information, you can put it all together nicely and find the best solution for both parties. So don't get me wrong, sometimes the landlords, the property owners are going to want the best of all worlds. They're going to want the best possible price, the best possible rent payment, the best possible outcome for them. But that isn't necessarily going to be the best outcome for you as the property sourcer, because of course we have to find something that is presentable to investors where investors are going to pay. So you've got to be very careful that you don't end up solving their problem, but of course ending up with a bad investment deal yourself, because quite often you'll see it a lot where property sources have deals that they cannot shift, they cannot resell, and the problem is because they've just not done the numbers properly. They've put together a deal that actually isn't appealing to investors. Now, it might solve the property owner's problems, but of course, we're not a charity. We're not there to just bail them out on their terms. We have to make sure that we're acting in the interest of both the property owner, but also for our clients as well. So a solution that is good for both parties is another essential part to making you a more effective deal sourcer. And then number 4 is making that offer. How you present the offer will have a very big influence on when you're going to whether you're going to be able to reach an agreement. Now, What this means is, some negotiations can turn into a battle where you're going up in £1,000 increments or £500 increments, and it just becomes a real laborious task. And if you can imagine, as you progress and as you're putting together lots and lots of deals, if you're having to argue over hundreds of pounds here, hundreds of pounds there, it just doesn't make for a good business model. So really what you want to be doing is you can work on two processes. So there's the process where you offer a low offer and then you offer your best offer. So you go in at one point and then you go in at the best point. Or what you can do, and the way that Goliath have progressed to, is we now present the best offer that we can come up with. So we do all the numbers, we do all the valuations, we factor in all of our fees, the stamp duties, the additional cost, holding, whatever it might be, and then we offer the best offer. What this means is that if we're doing it via agents, they know that that's our best offer, so we're not going to mess them about. If we're doing it with vendors, they know that we're not going to keep going backwards and forwards, making little bits here, little bits there, because the more you add, the more you increase, the more they think you're going to increase. So if you just make an offer and stick it at that, everyone knows where they stand, and of course they might not accept it, they might accept it, but they know that you are solid at that offer. And it just means that by getting into a bidding war, quite often what someone can do is maybe think, oh, well, that extra £1,000 might help get the deal. But what that extra £1,000 does is makes it an unappealing deal for the investor. So what that means, you're going to struggle again to package it up, which means, of course, that you're not going to get your fee. You're going to have a vendor that's waiting for you to fulfill your promises in terms of packaging that up for a client, or buying it yourself, depending on how you've approached them, but you're going to fail because you've gone too far up. So do your numbers properly, do your due diligence, do all the holding costs, etc., 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 and either do the two offer process or move towards the way that we do it now, which is the one offer process, and just give them that offer and say that's the best and final. That's how you work. You do this on a regular basis, frequent basis, and that is the best offer that you're going to make. No backwards and forwards, and see where it goes. So number 4, making the offer. Really, really important way to making yourself a professional deal sourcer that stands out from the rest. And then number 5, those of you that know me know how much I emphasize on the art of following up. So with every element of what we do, I would say that the art of the following up is probably the most important. Obviously, your due diligence is very important in terms of getting the numbers right, but where most deals will be won are in the follow-up. And what that means is your first offer very often is going to be rejected. As a property sourcer, you will get used to having your first offer rejected, but remember, you've made the best offer, you stand strong by that offer, and what you do is you just watch that property, watch it on the market as it doesn't sell, as it doesn't sell, as it doesn't sell. Remember, keep in touch with them, so keep in touch on a regular basis, whether it be every week, whether it be every month, depending on the property type, the deal type, but just make sure you're staying in touch. It might be that at the time they weren't desperate, but now their motivation has changed 4 weeks later and they might reconsider your offer. But do not stop that following up. The follow-up process ends the minute that the property sells or is rented out, or it becomes impossible, inverted commas, to get a deal put together. But until that point, you continue to follow up, because that vendor's motivation, we've had deals go through where we've negotiated for months, literally 7, 8, 9 months, and then in 9 months they've come back and gone, yep, absolutely, we'll take your offer. So follow-up is really, really, really important part of this process, and do not underestimate it. More deals are in the follow-up, and what you will actually find is that the majority of property sources will stop at the first point of follow-up. So they won't even follow up. They'll make the offer, they'll get rejected, and they'll just forget about it. The next wave of sources, the ones that have maybe been taught a bit better, or they maybe have a bit of sales background to them, will probably follow up once, possibly even twice, but the reality is that you need to follow up 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, until that deal is sold, or the properties come off the market for whatever reason it might be. So follow up, really, really, really important. So those are the 5 steps. So just to recap, rapport building, step 1. Listen to them, step 2. A solution that fits both parties, step 3. Making that offer, getting that offer process nailed down, step 4. And of course, the most important potentially of those 5 steps, which is following up. So this video, this vlog, whatever we're going to call it, is the free resource is the 5 steps to closing more deals cheat sheet. And you can get that by going to www.goliathsourcingacademy.com/upgrade03, the number 03. So I'll say that again, goliathsourcingacademy.com/upgrade03. And as always, for more property deal sourcing strategies, tactics, tips, or if you want to listen to the podcast, listen to more of my voice, then please feel free to do so at www.goliathsourcingacademy.com. So as always, everyone, hope you've enjoyed that, and take care. Happy sourcing.